ברוכים הבאים לפודקאסט מעבר לקשת. נצא למסע מרתק אל לב ליבה של העשייה החברתית והפילנתרופיה הישראלית. מאיה נתן, מנכ"לית קשת, קרן לשיתוף תורמים, תוביל אותנו דרך שיחות מעוררות השראה עם דמויות מפתח בתחום. הצטרפו אלינו למסע שמספק השראה, תובנות וכלים משמעותיים בחברה. מעבר לקשת. מתחילים.
שלום, דריו ארנולד והילל מוסקוביץ. Welcome to Keshet's podcast.
Thank you. Hi, Maya. Hi, Dario.
Hi. So our first one in English, first of all. It's an honor to have you with us and speak to me in English. I'm going to ask you a personal question before we talk shop. So the question is, have you always been a manager of a family office? Is that your entire career?
You want to go first?
So I have not. I started off in accounting, doing U.S. tax work. And then when I recognized the need for family office services here in Israel, made that shift approximately 12 years ago. And since then, I've been deeply entrenched in the world and will be as long as I'm working.
Nice.
Yeah, as long as I'm working, for me as well, yes. So starting with the end. No, but I was in banking all my career. Started very young. So learned it from the previous generation, from my father.
In Switzerland?
In Switzerland, yes. And so got to know how banking is done, and then I naturally evolved into the family office space. So in the last 4 years, Genesis is alive, and that's what we do.
So is it, you just said, and for the rest of my life, is it such a good job? I mean, some people don't even know what family offices do. So can you tell us?
Is it such a good job? It's a very rewarding job.
Nice. Why?
We work with great people. And that makes all the difference in the world when you're working with great people. And I personally enjoy what I do. But the ability to help people who are very influential, specifically here in Israel, is very personally and professionally rewarding for me. And so, yeah, for me, it's definitely great. The relationships that we build with them, obviously, I'm the service provider. We're the service provider. They're the clients. But it's more than that. We develop a partnership, and it's a two-way street. They help us. We help them. And that, to me, is what it's all about.
Dario, there are many different kinds of family offices. Do you categorize yourselves in a specific category?
Yeah, we would focus on first generation, tech entrepreneurs mainly. A few of them from Israel, a few of them from Europe. So Switzerland, UK, etc. And yeah, we really hone into that niche. We try to understand that specific group much better. And I think that makes us more unique than a family office which is doing a broader base of a client segment. Yes.
So you indeed work with fantastic people. I know some of the people you work with personally, and I think that most of them have made fantastic choices in their lives. Let's talk about philanthropy, because we at Keshet see family offices as being our maybe best partners in trying to spread the word, do the right thing, be smart about how you manage your financial side of the philanthropic part of your life, but also have conversations and help sort of find the right fit for every person. When do you speak about philanthropy with your clients? When is the conversation happening? Is this something that they come to you, or is it something that you bring up?
You know, our clients, the families we work with, they're not contracting us to elevate them morally or to make sure that they do philanthropy, right? They're contracting us to ensure that the financial well-being is guaranteed to them and to their kids and to the generations thereafter. There is always a willingness to do philanthropy. but there is maybe a very high level of uncertainty if a family could afford that, and if so, at what magnitude. And I think that's our job to really ensure that the discretionary spending is set in a manner that they do feel comfortable to do philanthropy. So our task is more like, clarity and transparency and financial planning, and to ensure that their discretionary spend is aligned to their goals to guarantee financial well-being for generations to come. That's the main task, and in that task, it is our responsibility to give them the clearance and to go through the numbers and make them aware of what the budget is, or should be, or could be.
Right.
Yeah.
And Hillel, I know that most, if not all, of your clients are engaged with philanthropy. Is this like a given?
It's not a given. Not all clients are as philanthropic as others. But going back to your question about when it comes up, the topic of philanthropy, it comes up even before their clients. When I sit with potential clients and they ask what we do, how we can help them, philanthropy is always one of the topics that comes up, both in terms of structuring it, in terms of planning for it, cash flow, tax benefits, timing it properly. As you've seen from the work that we've done together, it doesn't just happen. It has to be thought through. It's a process, what to donate, when to donate, where to donate, whether we're talking about cash, appreciated assets, other assets that can be donated. And so these are things that our clients are happy to be philanthropic, but they oftentimes need the hand-holding and the guidance as to what to donate and when. And that's something that we keep in the back of our minds as we monitor our clients' financial activity. And so when they want to know why they should engage us, it's one of the things that we mentioned at the outset. And I always keep an eye out to see if it piques if the spark goes off in their mind, and that indicates that they are philanthropic and they want it to be front and center for their financial planning, or if they say, okay, fine, good to know, and then I know that it's not, and then we try to build it in if we can, but it's really up to the clients, but it definitely comes up at the outset.
So, but I would say that one conversation would be, whether or not, like you said, you're not a moral support nor guidance for your clients. So that item used to be, at least, that philanthropy was the let's do good in the world. But in our conversations during the last year and even beforehand, there's much more than just doing good into looking at philanthropy as being a part of how you manage your wealth. How do you usually, when you explain it to your clients, how do you maybe sort of put the boundaries or set the stage to make a decision that is not just a feel-good decision, but is actually a financial one?
Yes. I think especially with our client segment, so the money came very fast. The money is very new. It is a lot of education when it comes to asset protection, right? So we really try to sensibilize our clients that it's not about making another 5 kills, which will make the difference to the kids. It's really about asset protection, right? We all know the statistics like second generation, 70% evaporates, third generation, 90% is gone. So we really sensibilize our clients to make sure that asset protection and wealth preservation is the main key. And with that conversation comes an asset protection strategy. So what should one hold on his name, and what should, rather be segregated? How much of the assets should be segregated within various tools, vehicles, etc. And depending on the jurisdiction, there is, great tools where basically money is, put away for generations already. And that's where we see a DAF like Keshet as an optimal tool, right? Where you can say, look, we know already that we do asset protection. We pay for asset protection, okay? And here actually we have tremendous tax benefits in putting money aside. And that's the long-term wealth preservation planning we really try to aspire for with the clients.
What Dario said is 100% correct. When clients have a liquidity event, some sort of exit, there's a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces,
Right.
whether it be tax payments, paying off mortgages, how to deploy the capital. So the key I find is at the outset, when clients are in a quiet time period in their financial lives and personal lives, is to have a discussion about philanthropy, what they're looking for, so that when they get to a hectic period in their lives, we can kind of guide them. And the discussions that we had when things were clear and calm and collected can then be executed upon when there's the liquidity event, because we already had the discussion as to what the charitable goals are and how we want to handle things when there is that liquidity event. And so planning for it early on is one of the keys to making sure that gets done properly and thoughtfully when the time comes.
So you really you stress the part of having those conversations before the stressful times comes. One of the things that happened since day one, I think, at Keshet, is that we emphasize donation of shares and equity as part of just a regular doing business in philanthropy. It wasn't that common back then, 6 years ago. I think it's much more common now. Do you usually when you have a conversation with a client, if it fits them, do you recommend donating equity, or do you think that each person should decide on their own? How do you make that offer to your clients?
Yeah, no, I think that's really our task to guide them in the most optimal way, right? So they come with, with the need and the will, and we show them how.
Do they know about donating? No, they don't.
No. Not only they don't know, their accountants very often don't know.
Right.
Not only in Israel, also elsewhere.
Right.
Okay, so it is really mind blowing for us to see how unknown that topic is, and we actually make them aware that with the very same shekel, they can have a much higher impact. We see the spending of our clients, and we do see sometimes checks, here or there. And it really gets
Checks,
us.
the real one, the one that you sign.
No, yeah, we see some donations left and right, and it really gets me going. Like
Yes.
I'm picking up the phone and saying, like,
What are you doing?
You remember that conversation? And I think by now most of the people have a lot of capital gains accumulated given the last few years. So
Yes.
there is really no reason to write a cash check.
Exactly. I mean, it's up to the clients to decide to be philanthropic or not.
Yes.
And it's up to us in our seat to kind of guide the clients as to how they should execute upon that philanthropic plan. And most of our clients at Battery Global Advisors are from the U.S., whether it be U.S. citizens, they lived there for a bunch of years, where it's always been known that you donate appreciated assets. It's relatively new here in Israel, but we, from our position, know our clients' holdings. And so if we know that there's going to be a way to donate appreciated assets, we pointed out to the clients that it is the most tax efficient way to make charitable contributions. And majority of the time, they're very much in favor of that. It's the strategy that we help put into play for them.
And usually when they have that conversation, do you recommend the family to have the conversation about the fields that they want to be involved in, or the NGOs that they want to give to? Do you recommend that they will do that with outside of the family office, or do you keep it inside? Do you sometimes refer them to us to have that conversation? Because most of the family offices that I meet, they are wonderful people like yourselves, but their main task is to, like you said, take care of the wealth and make sure that it's protected. So what happens with the content of philanthropy?
I think that from what I see, most of our clients have their own ideas in mind as to where they want to be donating their assets and their funds. They obviously get enough inbound inquiries all the time
Yes.
from various sources, so that I don't see a place for us necessarily to step in and suggest and make any recommendations. If they obviously ask us, we're happy to help with them. I know that Keshet offers that as well to help account holders kind of go through the process of thinking where they want to donate their money based on which sector or what type of organizations. But I find that clients basically have their own ideas in mind, and our role is simply to facilitate it and not to get in the way or make any suggestions. That's not really our place, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree with Hillel. I mean, very often what we do when the kids are starting to approach, 15, 16, 18, etc., we would set the family constitution in place. And within the family constitution, we hone into the values and missions and purpose for the family. And obviously that's a great place where you actually can have a conversation within the family, and they would actually set the goals into stone, and then it's very obvious. But we actually really like them to formalize, because only if
you believe in structure, you
Yes.
think that it protects them as well.
Yes, it also gives them a way to say no.
Yes.
It's very important. I think it gives them a good feeling to say no, because they have committed within a family what purpose they wanna solve or support.
Yes.
And once that is clear for everyone, day to day is much easier.
I agree.
I find very often clients turn to us to be the bad cop because they have so
many. Can
many.
you tell them no, please?
Yes, that happens very often where somebody approaches a client asking for money, and the client will say, "Oh, talk to the family office." And then it's on us to say, "No, we already allocated for this year, for this purpose, whatever it is." And so that's another benefit of clients having family office services to kind of play that role and to avoid the unpleasant conversation for them. I'm happy to have it. Not really, but it's part of my job, and so it's fine.
We only get the unpleasant conversations, only the no's, right?
But it's true that it's when you decide on a structure or a strategy, usually it will be easier to say no, because it's not that you don't like the person who asked for money. It's just that it's not within the values that you're trying to accomplish at a specific time. And I think it's really important to know, because in Israel, it seems like, either you or us are blocking the donors. We're not doing that. We're not sort of keeping them out of reach. Is that every donor has their own sort of journey in the world that they want to accomplish. And it wouldn't make a difference if you will get to them or to us. The answer will still be no. So
Yes.
I'm a great believer in strategy as well. And I also think that some of the things in Israel should probably maybe change for the better. Like, Hillel and I talked a lot about incentives in Israel. We believe that the policy that exists in Israel is somewhat prohibiting.
Very prohibiting.
Very prohibiting.
Or not encouraging.
Yes. We talked about the ceiling, the tax credit. Do you guys think that it should change? I mean, from where you sit, when you speak to your clients, because I was told very often that nobody is asking for more than 10 million shekels of credit. And I said, I don't think you're right. So maybe we'll share some of the real life stories that it won't be just me saying there are people who would want to give more. Do you meet them? Do you have those conversations?
So, yeah, as we've discussed many times, there are plenty of individuals in this country who do want to donate more than 10 million shekel worth per year. There are two limits here in Israel, 10 million shekel per year with a carryover of 3 years, I believe it is,
Right.
and also a limit on 30% of income, both of which I think are limiting to different people based on their various circumstances. I know full well that if the 10 million were to be raised to 50 million, taken away completely, more money would be donated to charity in any given year, today even. There are enough clients that get to the 10 million during the year and remember that, giving in anything additional won't give them a tax credit. So they, in theory, wait till the next calendar year, which I don't think is a good system to have in place. I think if people want to be charitable, the government, the regulations should allow them and encourage them. I personally don't see the logic to a cap of 10 million shekel a year.
If we already have a cap of 30% of your taxable income, it is a cap.
Yes, it serves as a cap.
The government will get the 70% of tax.
Yes. And we've seen plenty of exits in this country where people that want to even give 10% aren't able to and get a tax credit because of that cap. It's definitely frustrating. We're hoping that changes. I also think that's worth adding that where we are now, post years of the pandemic, post war, now is a perfect opportunity.
I hope.
I hope, exactly. If we are post-war,
yes,
or even if we're not post-war, there are enough needs in this country, and the government should be encouraging people to donate and removing the cap, even if it's for a 1, 2, 3 year period, to help restabilize the country in the fields of helping the poor, rebuilding certain areas in this country. Medical system needs repair, education. There are lots of ways in which money can be put to use, and so if they insist on there being a cap, then let's try to raise it or eliminate it even on a temporary basis in order to help. I think that there would be a direct correlation to helping the country if those caps are changed or adjusted, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a recalibration. I think, a Series A is also having a very different magnitude today. Exits have different magnitudes, so do have private wealth creation events. So I think that
it's needed.
I think it needs some recalibration to the actual reality, right?
The other issue that I hear a lot from philanthropists is that they tell me, look, the way that when we donate the money and you take care of it and you're doing a great job, but you're limited because you can only invest in a certain way. So once we give it away, there is limitation to the way that we can invest it. And then so I prefer keeping the money for now, invest it and create greater wealth and then donate afterwards. So I find it to be a limitation as well, because we cannot, the greatest enterprises in the philanthropic world are actually endowments. And so in Israel, it's very hard to create an endowment if you both have the 10 million and the restrictions. So do you at all have those conversations about how do we manage the money that was donated?
We've definitely run the numbers and done the calculations to see if people are better off donating and letting Keshet manage the funds and invest them and the returns that Keshet account will yield versus keeping the money in the individual client's personal account, investing however the client wants, paying tax, and then leaving it to charity at the end of one's life. One can definitely see the logic in that second approach of not donating now and building that endowment, because the funds can grow better in the individual's personal account. And yes, I mentioned the caps of the 30% and the 10 million, the restrictions on investments, which I haven't seen such restrictions in other parts of the world, is something that we'd welcome change in that regard as well, for sure.
Yeah, I think it kind of, creates consumer protection where there is no protection needed and wanted. I mean, none of these people need that type of protection. And it's our job to really make sure they optimize. And it's very unfortunate that we cannot have 100%, equities. I think it makes no sense.
Especially when you look at the long term. If someone really looks at it as being, if they're around in their 30s or 40s and they look for it to be a life-changing or a life-spending event, it makes no sense of just running it as if it's all coming in and going out on the same year.
Yes.
That is the whole benefit of the donor advised fund, where you can set money aside now and let it go to charitable organizations down the road. Keshet's been around for 7 years at this point, or 6 years, however. As I remember, we first met in 2019, I think.
We did.
But I know that all of our clients envision the funds at Keshet and their account for being for the rest of their lives and for the next generation even. And so that it tends to make the argument that it should be allowed to be invested more aggressively, because over the long term, it should yield those higher returns.
Yes. So you mentioned we met in 2019. I think we started working in 2020 when we received the 46. What's the solution? I mean, how do you see Keshet in your overall work as a family office? Is this like an outsourcing? Do you see us as a partner? I mean, we very much do. We want you to see us as a partner, but I'm always wondering what's the best fit for you to work with an entity like ours?
I mean, definitely as a partner, for sure. It is part of the bigger picture.
Yep.
It's part of a very, long-term strategy. And this is how we look at it. The same as we look at other structures within the family, okay, as if there is, a trust or a foundation or, the Israeli pension funds, etc. So this is part of a very, well strategized map for us. And so, it's part of the puzzle of the overall. And we outsource a lot, and we are very happy to outsource that, yes.
We're happy you chose us. It's a compliment for us.
There definitely is an element of outsource, but it's also a partnership as well. We're in touch with your entire staff on a regular basis, as you know. And sometimes the transactions are easy. Sometimes they're harder, whether it be donating shares from Israel, from outside of Israel. And so it really does require, we couldn't do it without Keshet. The benefits and the structures that we're trying to put in place for our clients, and the way in which we're trying to help them maximize their donations. So yes, you see some of the emails, you don't know about all the phone calls that go back and forth, but it is definitely a partnership, and every client obviously chooses to use it differently.
Yes.
Some people very much know where they want to donate, and so it's press the buttons and send the money type thing. But obviously the benefit of us not having to chase after every organization to get the receipt like we used to do, the fact that's all
what
central.
A lovely job.
Lovely job, yes. But nowadays when the clients just park the money at Keshet and then we don't have to worry about that, that's an added benefit. And
you manage everything on the portal, right? Like you can see all your clients, you can...
The portal's great, yes.
We tested on. We wanted you to test it first, so that's how we get better at it each year.
Yeah. We have access to the portal for all of our clients' accounts on the portal, and so we can help them directly in that regard, for sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and for you it's less important, but it's even in English, so this is really nice. Yeah,
it's important for them too.
Yeah. It's important. It's important for you as well. Yeah.
Yeah, English is. We try to do everything because I think in two languages, because I think that we have enough donors who they know Hebrew, but they don't. But they would rather manage themselves in English. So it was a principle from the very beginning to do everything in both languages. If you had to give one advice for the future, maybe on Israel or on wealth protection or on philanthropy, what would it be?
What, like to a family or?
Yes.
Strategy, like really be organized. Don't do, out of the stomach check writing or decision making. It's really formalize, plan, write that down, commit to it between a couple, between the kids. I think that is really important. So you really create guidance and transparency within a family, and you create rules, okay? And it's important to us, and it's important to them. I think it's one of the keys how to make sure families remain sound financially, that there is a formalized plan.
I think it's important to have trusted advisors, that the family has who to turn to run their ideas off of, share their thoughts, because the thoughts about money, philanthropy, next generation change over time. When you're young, you get married, your kids are little. As the kids get older, your thought process to how to handle money both personal wealth that's for future generations as well as philanthropic money is going to change. And so it's important to kind of have those discussions regularly, because as you grow and your ideas change and the world around you changes, then so too will the strategy change and the desires for the money change. So thinking about it on one's own, while going for a walk in a park, doesn't always accomplish the same goal as having somebody who you trust and you can bounce the ideas off of and have a discussion with them, and a back and forth definitely helps develop that the philosophy, which is what will change over time. That's perfectly fine. Many people change their ideas about certain things, and that makes a lot of sense in my opinion. And having the people to talk to is what will actually give you more confidence in what you've decided once you hear the somebody else challenge you about it, and you can flesh out your ideas properly. So I think it makes
you don't have to be. I mean, a lot of people get somewhat scared, or maybe not sure that they know how to manage themselves and their family within the wealth or the wealth creation. So, and sometimes a lot of money is coming with a lot of stress, and you feel like you need to find a way to do it. So I actually think that working with the family office, and also, like you said, organizing all different parts of your life, including philanthropy, is maybe the smartest and most stress-reducing action that you can take. And I want to hope that in your practice in the future, philanthropy will not be just it can be the last thing you talk about, but it should be the most important thing you talk about. And hopefully with time goes on, we will have fantastic donors coming through, mainly through family offices that are doing the work with them. So on that note, thank you very much for coming and joining us.
Thank you for having us.
I hope that we will work many, many, many years together.
With pleasure.
I know we will.
And thank you
for
all you're doing for Keshet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your assistance.